Assalamu alaikum. Today we will discuss about the Geoffrey Chaucer. When we talk about the Geoffrey Chaucer date of birth, he was born between the two dates, like he because he was not confirmed the date, fixed date. He was born between the two dates, like 1340 to 1345, properly in London. His father was a wine merchant, and in the 1357, he was a page in the household of the Elizabeth, and in the 1359, but he was ransomed by the king Edward III. Later on, they sent him to the France on diplomatic missions, and he also traveled to the Florence, and around the 1366, Chaucer was married Philip Reti, and a lady in the waiting in the Queen's household, and in 1374, Chaucer was appointed the camp controller of the London customs, and after that, in the 1366, he was elected the member of the Parliament of for Kent, and also served as a justice of peace. And in the 1389, he was made a clerk of the king, make the overseeing the loyal building projects. He held a member of the loyal post, serving between both Edward III and his the successors, Richard II. And the Chaucer lived in the duration of Edward third, 1327 to 1377, and the Richard II, 1377 to 1399, and the third is the Henry IV, fourth 1399 to 1413. These and the time period Chaucer lived in this age, and he was the first poet to buried in the Westminsters, and be known as a poet of the corners, and Arnold called him the father of the English poetry, because he says the Chaucer as a father of English poetry, and Arnold in the legend of the good woman in the nine legends, or the in this work, and Chaucer was the first national poet of English and English in England, of the English first English poet in England, and Chaucer was the national poet of the England, and but the Dryden's are sad about him. Here is sad about him, the Chaucer. Here's is God plenty, and because you exercised a deep influence on the Chaucer on the diplomatic missions. He was sent to the Italy, where he met the patriot and Picasso, and he makes a clear influence reference to the patriots in his clerk clerk tale, because Geoffrey Chaucer used into the contemporary tale his famous work, used the character as a clerk. So the clerk tale is the clear from the as a reference to the Picasso and the patriarch. Chaucer is called the father of English poetry and the grandfather of the English novel. And when we talk about the Chaucer's, and he was called the morning star of the song, and a morning star of the Renaissance. And when we talk about the Chaucer's and other writers like Arnold says about him, the Chaucer's like the Chaucer's lack not only the essence of the dainty but also the high seriousness. But he is the first one to use the Atwaram in the book of the Duchess, and Atwaram is the eight syllable lines in the couplet ramming. And when we talk about he was the first used to the heroic couplet into the legend of a good woman. Here a couplet is the 10 lines syllable rhyming in the couplets. For example, AB, and BCC. He was first used ramming royal in the ramming royal is 10 syllable lines arranged into the 7 line stanza. And in the house of the lamb and Chaucer resemblance and close to the deities divine comedy. And but the W.J. Long is called to the prologue to the contemporary tales as the prologue to the contemporary modern fictions like the W.J. Long give the name of the prologue to the modern fiction because of its realisms. But when we talk about the prologue to the contemporary tale, the general prologue to the contemporary tales contains the 885 lines into the stories and the tales. And the general plan of the contemporary tale is taken from the Pecoses and the in the contemporary tale, pilgrims would be the seen going to the Thomas Blackett in the month of April, and he give the pen pictures of the 21 pilgrims in this work. And they are very famous in the tale prologue to the contemporary tale. Albert called the Chaucer the earliest of the greatest modern and the morning star of the Renaissance. And Dryden called the Chaucer the father of English poetry. Chaucer found his the native tongue a dialogue and left it into the language in a language. And Chaucer is the earliest of the greatest modern by the Matthew. If the Chaucer is the father of English poetry, he is the grandfather of English novel by the G.K. Chesterton. And here is the God Plenty by the Dryden. Chaucer and Langland died into the same years like the 1400 same death years and same time. Chaucer has been criticized the pleasant and about the court and cultivative class and neglect the suffering of the poor people and the poor class. Although in the contemporary tale is the 120 stories were the planned, but only 24 were the completed. Chaucer introduced the felicity in the English and longest tale of the contemporary tale is the night is the longest character. I think the night is the longest character of the into the contemporary tale. But when we talk about the Geoffrey Chaucer, so Geoffrey Chaucer has been called the Prince of Pilgrists because we can say that the Chaucer is the great leader of the Pilgrist, and that is the reason of the same the prince of the Pilgrists. But by the Hudson says the Chaucer was not in any sense of the poet of the people, but we can say the divided into the Geoffrey Chaucer work into the three different times. Like first is the French time period, like the 1359 to 1372. First period is that, and the second period is Italian time period. Italian time period start to the 1372 to 1372 to 18 1370 sorry 85. And the third time period is the Chaucer work is divide when we divide into the English time period, and English time period is start to the 1386 to 1400. And after that Chaucer was died into the 1400. uh, like we can say the Chaucer was total time period is the 1345 to 44 to 1340. So after then Geoffrey Chaucer died into the 1400. Thank you.